Naruto fans around the world have been waiting to see Naruto and Karama's ultimate combined form, the BARYON Mode. Does it live up to the hype?
Damn! Powerful Nerdcast assembled!
Stay dandy, baby. Hello my friends and welcome to another review of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. That's right, we finally reached the episode where Naruto and Karama utilize the BARYON Mode to take down Isshiki. If you have not watched this episode, go watch it right now. The hell's wrong with you? Go check it out, come back to this video, and let's talk about it because it's hype as shit, okay? But before we dive into this boner-inducing episode of Boruto, I would like to ask all of you, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please think about doing so you can check out all of my latest videos and reviews. Make sure to like the video. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit that bell notification icon. It'll let you know when my videos are released. And of course, if you would like to subscribe to my Patreon, just do it. To become one of my patrons, you'd be doing a great service in helping this channel. I would love to add your name to this list of amazing people that you currently see on screen right now. They are effectively the producers of Ace Guru. So this may come as a shock, considering that I'm like the big action anime guy, but yeah, I friggin' loved this episode. This was a classic episode of the series, proving yet again that Naruto, most of the time, has the best fights in the entire franchise. Makes sense, he was the original main character, and while this is certainly an episode of Boruto, the real star is Naruto himself, and to a lesser extent Kawaki, but we'll get to that at the very end of this review. Really, this entire episode is going to be remembered for that amazing fight scene which takes place in the first half of this episode. And while I certainly loved it and got a lot of enjoyment out of it, I was kind of hoping that maybe they would add a little bit more to this battle to extend it out and make it a little more exciting. But they actually decided to adapt everything that was in the manga, but they did it with such gusto, such badassery, that honestly, I simply can't do it justice. You kind of just have to see it yourself. The BARYON Mode itself is very visually striking. I already talked about what I really liked about it in its reveal in the last episode. In a way, it looks like Naruto is kind of wearing Karama as a cloak around his body, with the Nine Tails being able to act independently of their own or being controlled by Naruto or Karama. And this form is essentially, I think, the strongest that Naruto will ever get. I mean, even Karama himself states that this power should be able to exceed Ishiki's, and Isshiki is basically a god, so this is pretty freaking extreme. This form, which is known as the BARYON Mode, however, does come with a massive price, which is the fact that it is going to basically siphon and suck away Naruto and Karama's life force. But it also has another special ability, not only enhancing his strength, his speed, and all of his jutsu, but it also drains the life force of whoever he attacks. It doesn't matter how strong the attack is. If Naruto manages to punch Isshiki, he's going to suck his life away. And this is very important as he only had a small amount of time to live anyway, so this is the perfect type of maneuver to take him down. It's effectively going to bring him down to the very last bit of his life force, which is going to leave him weak and without the ability to implant a karma in Kawaki's body. And this first half of the episode, which basically just features Naruto just kicking the shit out of Isshiki, is nothing short of satisfying. There is some amazing fighting choreography in this episode, bringing to mind some of those classic fight scenes from the previous episodes. If there's one thing that the Naruto franchise always does well, it's its taijutsu fight scenes, those hand-to-hand combat moments. They look absolutely amazing in this episode. Eagle-eyed fans will also probably notice a number of references to classic fights in the series, like this little maneuver that Naruto does right here. It's literally what he does to Sasuke in their first major fight at the Valley of the End. Naruto is a commanding force in this episode. No matter what Isshiki throws at him, he manages to either block it, deflect it, or throw it right back at his enemy. I really love that when Isshiki is trying to use his black chakra rods against Naruto, he manages to either just use them for his very own weapons, or just effortlessly dodges them every single time. Even when Isshiki is just trying to punch him, he just sort of casually walks towards him like a friggin' serial killer, just blocking everything. There's one scene in particular that I think was one of the best animated scenes of the entire series, and definitely one of the best parts of this episode, where Naruto's basically just bringing everything against Isshiki, and he decides to attack him with a Rasengan, and he does it in the most calm, calculated way possible. He doesn't even yell Rasengan, he just sort of casually says it under his breath as he rips through all of Ishiki's attacks, hitting him point blank and sending that bastard flying. It is just awesome! But like I said earlier, while Baryon Mode is incredibly destructive and super fucking epic looking, it's also a double-edged sword. While Isshiki is losing his life force, so are Naruto and Karuma, and it's only a matter of time before they start to get weakened. Isshiki takes advantage of this and starts to attack him. And that leads to one of the biggest twists of the entire episode. Isshiki takes advantage of Naruto's weakness and starts to basically kill him when he realizes that he can sense Kawaki's chakra. The main reason for this is because Kawaki has that weird prosthetic arm, which is powered by Naruto's chakra. So he's able to sort of sense him out and is able to forcibly teleport him to this battlefield, which is exactly what he wants because he's got to implant this karma fast or he is friggin' toast. Physically speaking, Isshiki has been rocked by Naruto's Baryon Mode, but mentally, he's starting to lose it a little bit. When he realizes that his life force is almost gone and Kawaki is his last chance for a resurrection, he basically just goes insane and tries to stop him in every way possible, summoning black chakra rods from the sky and raining them down all over the frickin' place. Miraculously, Kawaki is able to escape this and he's almost immediately captured, but luckily Sasuke is able to use his Rinnegan to switch places with him, and Sasuke continues to get his ass beat, which I have to admit, kinda disappointing. I really wanted to see Sasuke do something just as cool as Naruto here, but it could have possibly taken away from his big moment. Really, it's just firmly establishing that Isshiki is just on a completely different level than any other villain-type character that we've actually seen from the franchise thus far. And the rest of the episode essentially is Isshiki losing his shit and preparing to kill Naruto, unless, of course, Kawaki decides to give himself up and be implanted with the karma. And being that this is an anime, 20 seconds go by very, very slowly. We get all of these crazy, creepy flashbacks of Kawaki as he was being trained and tortured by Jigen, even seeing like a weird apparition or ghostly form of him as he finally decides that his new life in Konoha Village, the friendships that he's formed, and his admiration for Naruto is what's going to propel him to face Isshiki as the episode ends, and man, woo! What a freaking episode. So what's the rundown on this episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? Like I said, here's an episode which is going to be defined by its amazing action. There's no doubt in my mind that I think most people are going to enjoy Naruto's Baryon Mode going up against Isshiki. Yes, they could have made it go a little bit longer, they could have added a little bit more to the fight, but what was here was solid as all hell. It featured, I think, the things that people want most from a really good battle from the Naruto and Boruto franchise, which is really solid, fast, hard-hitting animation, fast-paced music which manages to amplify every single attack, and of course, taijutsu. At the end of the day, I love the abilities of the Naruto characters. The jutsus, all the crazy techniques and everything, that stuff is great. But the Naruto franchise has always excelled at hand-to-hand combat. Whenever they bring in those good animation teams, they always bring their A game. And this is just another perfect example of that. It was visually stimulating and absolutely amazing. There's really no other way to put it. It really is just amazing. And like I said, even the simplest attacks, a punch to the face, a kick to the side, a simple Rasengan is brought up to a brand new level in this episode. I'd also be remiss if I just didn't mention how awesome Naruto was in this episode, and that's not just talking about his overall fighting style, but just his attitude in this form, the amount of calm that he actually had. I especially love the scene where he first starts to fight against Isshiki and starts just wrecking his shit, that he actually mentions to him that this is what true resolve really is. This was really Naruto's episode and showing how far he's willing to go to protect the people he loves, even if it means giving up his very own life. It's something that Naruto has always been all about ever since he finally started to be recognized by his friends, his colleagues, his allies, his family. It's an important part of who Naruto is, and this episode absolutely exemplifies that. I have no problem in saying that this episode is a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. It was great across the board, amazing action, great drama, great music in this episode, which like I said, just really manages to do a great job of making all of these action scenes so damned exciting. Even Isshiki was great in this episode. His voice actor did a great job of just being so incredibly pissed off, especially at the end when he was looking for Kawaki. All of that stuff just sent chills down my spine. But I am never gonna forget some of the amazing imagery that came from this episode. The Baryon mode is legendary, and so was this episode. But you heard my thoughts, I want to hear yours. Make sure to sound off in the comments section below telling me what you thought about the latest episode of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, Naruto's Baryon mode. Did it live up to the hype for you? Did it not? What do you hope to see from the future of this series? Let's talk about that in this episode. Comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.